Well, bowling fans, we're out at SABR Laser Tag in Pewaukee to start the day off here. Familiar face, the owner of Motion Plus Lanes, also the owner here at SABR, Carrie Catania. And Carrie, we're going to have some great high school bowling, our Kickoff Classic at Motion Plus Lanes, sponsored by SABR. And tell you what, a bunch of great young high school teams out there today. Great battles on the lanes we had before we got the TV, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we enjoy this tournament. Can't wait to get this thing going.
Couple of teams you've seen before on TV with Oak Creek and Sun Prairie. They battled for the title last year. Sun Prairie waiting in the top seed. Oak Creek going to be in the opening match against Germantown. And we'll be back with that match from Motion Plus Lanes after this short break. Make sure you stay tuned here on Spectrum Sports.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com.
Nice on three! 1, 2, 3! Nice! Cheese out! Let's go, girl! Here we go!
Hit the red keys.
Hold on a second. All right, on behalf of everyone here at Motion Plus Lanes, we would like to thank you and everyone who donated toys for Tots. Don't forget, we collect toys all year long. If you'd like to make a monetary donation, you can. Our Marines will go out and purchase toys in the Milwaukee County area. And now, let's get it on. Yeah!
And once again, host proprietor Carrie Catania getting us started here with SABR High School Kickoff Classic. A semifinal match coming up between Oak Creek High School, Germantown High School. I'm Phil Breiler here with you from Motion Plus Lanes. Two-game total pin match for today's semifinal and championship matches. And with Sean Grobschmidt starting things off for Oak Creek, 10-pin left at the end of the lane. And we've seen it all day. These bowlers, no problem getting to the pocket on this 40-foot modified house pattern. Lots of ways the players can get to the pocket, but when they leave these single pins, like Grobschmidt did right there, they need to make sure to convert them. Not give away any pins to your opponent. We've seen single pins decide many a two-game total pin match here at our high school shows over previous years. First appearance on TV for Tyler Wagner for Germantown High School. Coach Joe Sonneman, longtime coach of that Germantown program, looking to get them back to past prominence as they have with many state tournament appearances over the years. Wagner, good break on the light hit, gets the 2-pin out, breaks up the railroad. Never easy to hook across these house patterns and get both pins out consistently when a railroad is left. Just the 8-pin for Wagner should be an easy spare. No problem covering up. See a lot of these players using a direct line to the pocket. Best way to attack this pattern is a lot of oil in the front part of the lane. Make sure the lane pattern holds up over a lot of lane play. And here we see Coach Jeff Wrobleski giving some advice to Anna Ninow. Anna, her first appearance ever on television. Good roll up to the pocket, almost a good break. Take the 7 out on the light hit. You know, just started bowling a couple of years ago. We see that a lot in high school bowling. A lot of young players that have fun with their friends when they go out recreationally, or they know someone who's bowling on the bowling team and they decide to take the sport up. And with some quality coaching, they can improve quite a bit in a short period of time. And we just saw that oil in the middle of the lane come into play for Nino. She slides by the 7-pin. Isaac Luke, his first appearance on television very compact game for Luke. And just can't quite get the ball flush in the pocket. Leaves the weak 10. Luke, a junior at Germantown High School. See, these kids well coached. They know to go cross lane on the spare, give themselves as much room for error as possible, and that one you just see a little nervous on the timing. Luke just kind of delayed the push away, and then when everything tries to catch up, you see the bowler try to rush the swing through. And nerves definitely come into play. Freshman Anthony Martirana, we've seen his sister Kate on a few shows. Now it's Anthony's turn. The show striking stays in the family as he puts up the first mark on the board for Oak Creek. Of course, Oak Creek defending state champions, but lost all but one player in their starting lineup to graduation. Only player you'll still see from last year is their anchor player, Stephen Mizuski. Aaron Drouillard, senior at Germantown. Easy, powerful game. Watch that ball rev up. Wrap 10, bad break for Drouillard on that particular shot. Right to the polyester ball. These young players, they know equipment, part of the key to success in high school bowling. Whenever you get a chance to go to that polyester ball for spares, especially those cross-lane ones, for right-handers being the 6 and 10 pins, you'll see those players go for it. It's going to need some help. And, 10 pins are never easy when nerves come into play. We are second consecutive vote for Germantown. Let's Oak Creek right back in the match. Kat Martirana, half of our defending high school mixed doubles champions. You'll see that show coming up shortly on Spectrum Sports just after the first of the year. And the big Martirana double gets Oak Creek in the lead by 11 pins. Watch that ball, very direct from Martirana. Gets the hook in at the last second, mixes up the 4, 5, and 7. Gets 10 down. Stephen Monson, last time we saw Monson on television was this past summer on our Road to Gold series from AMF Bolero. And Monson with a powerful straight ball, mixing up the rack, keeping his Germantown team close. And here he is, the man. We've seen him many a time on TV. Started as a freshman the first time we saw Stephen Mizuski on the Top Gun finals here for Motion Plus Lanes. Mizuski trying to cap off a stellar high school career. Bad break there. Head pin kind of runs interference on the 2, 4, and 5. Nothing gets to the 7. And Mizuski with the easy spare attempt coming up. Steve Mizuski wanted to thank his coach there, Jeff Wroblewski, for everything he's done coaching over the years. You see the man in front of Oak Creek right there sitting down, Don Rask. He's the junior varsity coach. He's also the commissioner of the High School District 1, which encompasses Waukesha and Milwaukee counties. And his hard work, along with the other volunteers involved in high school bowling, making sure these young players have a good start to their seasons. Once again, I want to thank High Five Gear. Nothing on the line from High Five today, but you see these great jerseys. Players are decked out in styles that High Five can offer you as well. Check them out at highfivegear.com. Andy Gross slices through the middle of the lane, and that is definitely the PBA split. When you only take out the 1, 2, 5, and 8 on your first ball. A lot of angle being used and a tough spare conversion coming up. Almost have to say this one's as tough to make as a 7-10, just with the sheer number of pins one has at the back of the lane. You'll see Gross hook into that spare. He's going to try to hook into the 3-pin, slide it across into the 4-7. Still have enough on the hook to take out the 9. Can't quite do so. The open frame on the board for Germantown. Oak Creek with a good lead, getting into the commercial break. First one of the day. Joining us back here from Motion Plus Lanes for the rest of the semifinal match. Welcome back to Motion Plus Lanes in Cudahy. 2017 SABR High School Kickoff Classic. Sun Prairie waiting in the wings as their top seed to take on the victor of this semifinal match. Oak Creek 24-pin lead. Grobschmidt stepping up for Oak Creek. Trying to redeem himself from the open frame in frame one, and a slow roll on the 9-pin. Gets another strike on the board for Oak Creek High School. As we take a look on the replay, watch that ball. High flush in the pocket. Initially goes by the 9-pin, but damage from the pins off the sideboard. Grobschmidt knows he's got the break. Keeps his team in the lead by 24. Tyler Wagner stepping up for Germantown. Wagner light on his first attempt in the second frame. A little better there. And how about that for the slow fall on the 7-pin? Bowlers starting to make their way into the pocket. These pins are falling a little late. Success there for Wagner. 5 blows into the 7, just takes it down. And let the celebration commence for Germantown as they stay close. Nino stepping up for Oak Creek. High game in her short career, 254. And a great shot there by Nino. Extend the lead for Oak Creek out to 34 pins. We've talked about this many times in our telecast. It's not about the ball speed. It's not about the number of revs in a lot of cases. You get that ball into a strong roll out the pocket, you can do some serious damage to the pins. Isaac Luke stepping up, looking for redemption off of his missed 10-pin earlier. A double on the board for Germantown, keeping them close. Suddenly fast and furious here at Motion Plus Lanes for this SABR High School Kickoff Classic. Once again, I want to thank the sponsorship, Kerry Catania and Gene Catania, not just for Motion Plus Lanes, but also from SABR Laser Tag for this great event. Anthony Martirana looking to keep the string going for Oak Creek. Does so with the Dick Weber wall shot. Lead back out to 34 pins for Oak Creek. Watch that replay. Ball hooks in late, gets just enough of the head pin to come off the sideboard, take out the damage on the 4, 5, and 7. Now it's up to Aaron Juilliard to keep things close. Juilliard, 269, his career high game. And a powerful shot like that, no doubt sometime in the near future, that high game score is going to be a bit higher than it is now. And these teams both finding a little inspiration during the commercial break as they talked with their coaches. A lot of strikes on the board. Kat Martirana, one perfect game. To her credit, that a dead pull to the left and a very tough spare combination. The 3, 6, 9, and 10. You see Coach Jeff Wrobleski coming in, letting you know probably best way to shoot that spare. Hook into the 3, 6 combination. Drive through the 3, 6, have the ball take out the 9. 6-pin will go into the 10. Looks pretty good so far, and 2 direct on the 3-pin. Keyed on that 9, got the 9 out, but the chop of the 3 off the 6-10. A big damaging open frame for Oak Creek. Cuts their lead down to 6 pins with just 1 frame remaining on their first game. But this is a 2-game total pin match. As tight as this first game is going to be, it's going to be a lot of excitement in game 2. Stephen Monson, 289 high game. And that's one case where paralyzed covered bowling balls, they have to go a little bit farther down the lane before they see friction because of that polish on the cover, and he needed that ball to roll up about 6 inches sooner. Lucky to leave just the 2-pin. I'm sure we'll see Monson use the strike line, just move his feet 2 or 3 boards to the right. There's the hook at it, gets through that oil in the middle of the lane, and covers up the spare. Just want to send out best wishes to my commentating cohort, Van McNeil, and his family during this holiday season, dealing with some illnesses in his family. Van, we miss you up here in the booth. Be glad to get you back once the holidays are completed. Hope all is well, my brother. Steven Mazewski looking to polish off game 1 for Oak Creek. Back in the pocket. He mixes it up nicely. And can make sure that Oak Creek holds on to the lead after game 1. If you can put up a double in the 10th. 7:52, Mazewski's high series. Next to golf. When he's not out on the lanes. A little chilly for that this time of year. There's always some options for some of the indoor places around the area. I've seen some of the heated golf bays as well. Big double to keep the momentum with Oak Creek, and that's one thing you always want to do as the day goes on. Don't give the chance to the other team to come back and get themselves with a lead. Always easier to keep the pressure on the opponent. And Mazewski showing up clutch in the 10th frame, looking to get all 3. Keep his team well in the lead. A little more direct on that shot. Wraps the 10. 198 for Oak Creek. Give them a minimum of a 6-pin lead, depending on what Andy Gross does. If Gross can strike out, they would end up at 192. And any way you look at it, it's going to be a barn burner of a match going into game 2. Andy Gross bowls his league at Classic Lanes, Menominee Falls, as many of his Germantown teammates do. Great shot there by Gross. Makes the adjustment off of the big 6 he left in the 5th frame. Move a little farther left, let the oil in the lane push the ball down, let that ball save energy. Not as aggressively arcing at the back end of the lane when you use that oil, and it sits up in the pocket nicely. 10 back. Andy Gross last year, 4th in the state high school singles. Always a tough event to get through. You get the best in the state of Wisconsin all together in one place. And we do that here in southeastern and southern Wisconsin when we have our annual Top Gun event here at Motion Plus Lanes in February. Scheduled to be here again in February and March, the boys and girls, and you'll see both those shows in March. Thanks to our friends at Spectrum Sports, our 11th season on Spectrum Sports. Looking forward to having many more. Gross not happy with that last shot. 8 count gives Germantown 190. Germantown the 8-pin deficit going into game 2 of this 2-game total pin match. We'll be back for Motion Plus Lanes. The rest of our semifinal of the 2017 SABR High School Kickoff Classic.
Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com.
Teams have had a chance to talk with the coaches. As they switch lanes between games. No practice between games for these teams. Just get in, fire right back off again. Germantown looking to make up an 8-pin deficit in this 2-game total pin match of the semifinals of the SABR High School Kickoff Classic. Phil Breiler here with you from Motion Plus Lanes. Tyler Wagner kicking things off. I don't believe we'll have any lineup changes for either team here in game 2. As Wagner starts Germantown off with quality strike. Grabschmidt up for Oak Creek, looking to match, and he does so successfully. Grabschmidt, no nonsense player, gets up there, knows what he wants to do, doesn't take a lot of time on the approach, and that mental game pretty strong for that young man. It's not about the length of a pre-shot routine, it's about the repetition and the comfort, and we see a lot of these young players like Isaac Luke here, short pre-shot routine, but they seem to be pretty comfortable, know what they want to do, and a big double on the board for Germantown to take the lead in this match for the first time since the 3rd frame. of game 1. With that good strike as the 6 kicks out to 10 for Luke. Anna Nenau has a chance to put Oak Creek back in the lead if she can get a double for her team here in the second frame. That needs to hold pocket. Wow, I'm a little surprised by that. Usually I don't see lane 10 playing tighter than lane 9 in our televised events here at Motion Plus Lanes. That time Nenau saw something the rest of us didn't. Keeps that ball online. Big strike on the board. Lead back to Oak Creek here. Aaron Drouillard stepping up for Germantown. Drouillard's high series 721. And a bad time for the ring 10 for Drouillard. But you have to get yourself focused here. Make the spare, keep your team close. Drouillard's not out on the lanes. Likes to show his artistic side, likes to draw. Right now he just needs to draw a straight line. Point A to point B. Ball out of his hand into the 10 pin. And he did that earlier, missed to the outside early. And these power balls, no chance to come back. And a big open frame for Germantown. Martirana can really hit the accelerator here for his team. Possible turkey in the third frame. And Martirana, a little quick out of the hand, a little spinny. And what happens when we say something spinny? It means the bowlers kind of increase the side roll on the bowling ball, makes the ball go a little longer down lane before it hooks. In that case for Martirana, that extra length kind of got him the baby split on the left side. 2-7, not always the easiest on cross lane shots. And as you can see there, ball doesn't hook all the way past the 2 pin into the 7. And still a single digit lead for Oak Creek, but now it's just 7 pins. Stephen Monson stepping up. Monson won the District 1 end of season scholarship tournament in 2016. Nice singles event that they run to wrap up their season before our Top Gun Invitational and the high school state tournament. And it's always good to get a chance to earn some scholarship money, especially when it's added money, such as what the high school districts do with fundraising and getting sponsorship into that event. Monson corrects that airmail of the pocket on the first ball, covers the 1-2-4. Keeps Germantown well within striking range. Here's a young lady that's thrown some clutch shots in her high school career with Kat Martirana. Big, powerful follow through, the big, powerful strike from Martirana. You might be asking yourself, well, we've seen Oak Creek's girls on TV in the past. Why do we not see them bowling with other girls today? Well, simply Oak Creek didn't have enough girls after graduation last year to field a full girls team, so they were forced to go the co-ed route. They bowl against boys and other co-ed teams like we're seeing today. And they are definitely keeping up the competition here. Andy Gross, big strike in the 5th frame. Germantown still down by 7 pins, and here's a shot that could help define one young man's high school career. For Steven Mizuski, if he can put this double on the board, get his team up by 17 pins going into the commercial break, lots of momentum riding Oak Creek's way if that happens. Powerful stance at the line, 10 back. Oak Creek, the 17-pin lead getting into the commercial break. We'll be back with the rest of this semifinal match for Motion Plus Lanes. After the short break, make sure you stay tuned here on Spectrum Sports. As we see a lot in high school competition, tight matches sometimes coming down to just a single missed spare or a single bad break on the lanes. Right now, Oak Creek filling just 2 extra frames so far in the first 15 frames to give themselves the 17-pin lead over Germantown, but we've seen those leads disappear in a single frame. Tyler Wagner looking to cut 10 pins off Germantown's deficit here in the 6th frame, working on a strike, and just a terrible break for Wagner. Threw the ball great, 5-pin, just goes in front of the 7 on the light hit as we see the replay. And that's one of those shots where you hit it maybe a ½ inch either way. When you get in that 1-3 pocket and you're taking all 10 down, all you can do now is, if you're Wagner, make the spare. And unfortunately, you turn yourself into a cheerleader for the rest of your teammates this match, because Wagner done here in the Baker format. Of course, Baker format, each player just throws 2 frames per game in a 5-person rotation. Grabschmidt working on the double for the team. Big time pull, bigger time break for Grabschmidt on the crossover. Gets the lead for Oak Creek out to 27 pins. You see there the smile when he comes back, knows he got the break. And now it's up to Isaac Luke to start another string for his Germantown team. Only 4 frames remaining. You don't want to say mandatory strike mode for Germantown yet, but it's pretty close. And just a little late to get into the pocket. The weak 10, 6-pin. Falls into the flat gutter. Does not do any work on that 10-pin. You just see right there, just the strength of the roll not there, the enter angle not there, and Isaac Luke looking for a bowling ball. He has a spare ball. Obviously, when you have 12 to 14 players on a pair of lanes, you can only fit 12 bowling balls on a rack at a time. Spare balls sometimes get jostled around, but even after that slight delay, Luke with the conversion. 28 pins deficit in this match for Germantown. Ninow could almost end it right here if she can throw a strike for Oak Creek, looking for 4 in a row as a team. And you see the difference in ball roll there. That ball, strength coming in the pocket, flush in the pocket. Ninow gets her team out to a 38-pin lead, and I don't want to say it's match over yet. But right now, the maximum score this game for Germantown, 226, and they're pretty much going to need every one of those pins to overcome their deficit. Aaron Juilliard, 10-pin last time up on this lane, makes the adjustment off the ring 10, comes a bit high, 4-pin, and it's starting to look like the end of the road for Germantown. You can hear Sun Prairie, you hear the bowling balls crashing in the distance. They are getting ready to hit the lanes, but a solid day today for Germantown on the lanes, regardless of their finish in this event. Germantown, between their qualifying and match play efforts, averaging just over 200 for all their games today. Never easy to do when you're moving from lane to lane in this Baker format with every game, and Anthony Martirana is going to seal the deal on the crossover strike. And let's see the reaction by Stephen Monson. He knows this one's pretty much over for Germantown. Still want to finish strong. And the big kick on the 10-pin from Monson. He's a young man I think you'll see a lot of once he gets his college career going as well. Monson will be a graduating senior. I'm sure has quite a few colleges he's looking to bowl for, looking at him. Martirana, another young lady that's going to see some action in college bowling if she takes that route. Another powerful strike for Martirana. And now we'll see some substitutions for these teams with this match no longer in doubt. Nothing like getting someone some experience under the television lights. So we're going to see that for Germantown with Anna Wiesa, who's a sophomore for Germantown. Weeza wanted to thank her grandfather, Phil Laporte, Phil, the coach of the girls team at Germantown High School, and of course, longtime supporter of the sport of bowling, Hall of Fame member in both the Milwaukee and Wisconsin Bowling Halls of Fame, for all of his volunteer work with the sport over the years. And that one's thrown quite well by Weeza. Looking to finish off strong for a Germantown team. Long season ahead for these young players. Season doesn't finish for many of these teams until the state tournament's complete the first weekend of March. This year's state tournament up in Wausau makes the return to Dale's Weston Lanes, and I've seen that there'll be some special guests at the tournament. One of those being PBA professional Kyle Troop. Afrofish making an appearance in the state of Wisconsin. Hopefully it's not too chilly for Kyle while he's here in March. I know Kyle from North Carolina, having a solid year in 2017 on the PBA Tour, and he'll have some television appearances coming up yet. And this PBA telecast on ESPN. Substitution now for Oak Creek as well. Andrew Balco stepping up. Balco, a senior, high game 289. And a good toss for being on the bench for 2 games. That's one thing we just saw with Weeza from Germantown. And now we see from Balco. It's never easy stepping up after watching your teammates bowl. You've been probably standing around for a good half hour, haven't thrown a ball yet. Pay attention to how the oil pattern's changing. Make sure you get a quality shot off your hand. And Balco does so there, leaving just a single pin. Sun Prairie, you see, keeping an eye on things, and they have to be thinking to themselves, well, we bowled last year for the title against Oak Creek in this Kickoff Classic, and we beat them. We're going to have to do it one more time, plus a little revenge off of last year's state tournament championship victory by Oak Creek over Sun Prairie. And a battle of the big teams, Oak Creek, Sun Prairie, coming up next for the championship for the 2017 SABR High School Kickoff Classic.
Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Bluemont Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Welcome everyone. This is Joe Serrar of the IAB, and we're in my pro shop here at Bowler's Pro Shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And today we're going to do a little tutorial on ball surface cleaning. We may even touch base on the reviver machine, which is one of the many methods that bowlers can use to have the oil extracted from the ball. But let's start with cleaning the surfaces first. Now, not all cleaners are created equal. There are a number of them on the market, and I've got a couple written down. Liquid sandpaper and resurface from a company called Neotech that actually will alter the surface texture of a ball and create basically a 2000 grit dull finish. And we'll experiment a little bit on this jackal here, the famous Motive Jackal, Carnage, which is no longer USB-C approved. So we'll start with about the size of a quarter on a clean rag. Give it a little rub, a little bit of elbow grease behind it. And we can easily kind of zoom in on the dirt and almost some coloring that came off on the towel. Now we'll clean off the residue. And as we can see, the surface is now quite a bit duller than what was previously on that ball right here, compared to the little bit of a sheen that we see there. In fact, the ball was originally polished at about a 5,000 surface grit, and now it is at 2,000. And again, we can see definite material and dirt coming off of the surface. That's good for higher speed players or bowling in a little heavier oiled environment. Again, a cleaner that actually has some abrasives, micro abrasives, in the cleaning element to help create texture. Very similar to what a 2000 grit Avralon pad would create as well. Okay, part 2. This is an oil extracting cleaner. Does not alter the surface texture as aggressively as the first one. This particular brand is called iTac from a company called Lane Masters, and they make lane oil, so they should know how to remove it. There's actually additives in here that are called surfactants that help bring oil to the ball surface and allow it to be cleaned and removed more readily. So we'll take a different section of the ball, a couple spritzes, and I think it's always a good idea to kind of let that cleaner sit on the ball's surface, let it kind of do its thing and work its way into the ball's surface prior to cleaning. So we'll take a clean part of the rag here, a little elbow grease, and as you can see, definite dirt is removed. Not as much of the pinkish color that we saw originally due to the fact we're not creating as much abrasive material into the ball, but definitely dirt removal. And this is basically from about 2 games of bowling last night at the Holler House, the oldest USBC sanctioned certified bowling center, I believe, in the United States. Right around 1906 is my memory, which can't be trusted. So we see the dirt removal, and again, we want to clean the surfaces to create tackiness. The more tackiness we create on that surface, the more grab the ball will have, not just in oil, but mainly off the dry portion of the lane, which can create a stronger back end motion. And I'll name a couple of the surface cleaners on the market that will create about a 3000 grit. iTac being one of them. Another one, Lane Masters cleaning, it's a blue cleaner. Clean and Dull from Ebonite, Powerhouse. And another one is called React to Scuff from our friends at Storm. Okay, now our final and third type of ball surface cleaner are the types that can be used during competition. In other words, they must say USBC certified, acceptable for use during or at any time, it'll say on the bottle. And again, these will clean the surface, but they do not have micro abrasives in them, so they're not altering the surface texture of the ball as the previous cleaners. So I'll put a little bit on the rag. This is called That Purple Stuff, made by our friend Ron Hickland. So we'll do a little cleaning on there. It smells nice and lavendery. And as you can see, definitely removes some dirt. Maybe not quite as aggressively as some of the others, but again, this can be used during competition, tournament or league. And as you can tell, quite a bit of tackiness is returned back to that ball. So now we'll touch base a little bit on oil removal, which is in essence a way of cleaning the ball free of oil. We'll remove an IQ tour, and I think the camera can kind of zoom in here. There is a lot of oil on that ball. And all that oil is being kind of heated gently in the machine. We have it set at 140 degrees. And you can see when I wipe it on a clean ball, before your eyes, it will be absorbed into the ball's surface. And again, these covers are made to absorb oil, so why prevent it? We want to encourage that for stronger hook. So all this oil on here, again, is preventing the ball from having as much hook or as much finish on the back end as it may have had when it was new. We'll just wipe some of that surface oil off, and you can see definite dirt remnants on that rag just from cleaning of the oil. The oil kind of helps push away some of that dirt from the surface as well. And then with a little luck, we're going to have that tackiness back again. It's kind of hard to hear it, but definite back to where it was more new. And after we remove oil, what we generally do here at Bowlers Pro Shop is we will resurface the ball with whatever surface grit the individual wants. Some players like it at 4,000 grit, some like it a little more aggressively, say 1,000 grit. And again, the lower the number, the earlier the ball is going to hook, the more traction you're going to create in oil. Kind of helps that ball slow down. because we know balls don't hook until they begin to slow down. When you go with a polished surface, it's going to encourage more length, later break point. So it's not like one's better than the other, they're just quite a bit different. So remember, when you're trying to get the perfect ball reaction in a given lane condition, make sure your products are clean, make sure you have the appropriate surface on that ball, and the rest is just throwing great shots. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'm Joe Serrar of the IAB. Hope to talk to you soon.
Live, on demand, worldwide, Extra Frame is always on. It's the online bowling channel. Watch live qualifying rounds and match play from every PBA Tour stock and every PBA 50 Tour event on your big screen, PC, mobile phone, or tablet. Archived nationally televised shows and content is available 24/7. Extra Frame is always on. Subscribe now at www.extraframe.tv.
Nice on three. 1, 2, 3. Nice! Good on three. 1, 2, 3, yards! OC. All right, let's go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go. All right, the best of the best. On behalf of everyone here at Motion Plus Lanes, we want to thank all of our servicemen and women of our armed forces. Thank you for all you do. Otherwise, we can't do what we're going to show you right now. Let's go! Get it up! Come on!
Once again, prior to Kerry Catania getting us started here at Motion Plus Lanes championship match for the SABR High School Kickoff Classic. Top seed Sun Prairie against number 2 seed and semifinal match winner Oak Creek, Colin Cratchy. Starting things off in the leadoff spot for Sun Prairie. That ball high and leaves 3-10 baby split. Not a lot of errant shots on the day for Sun Prairie as a team. We'll get more into their scoring pace in qualifying and match play in a little while. But they definitely outclassed the remainder of this field, taking the number 1 seed into this 2-game total pin championship match. Something we did not see a lot from anyone today on Sun Prairie. An open frame starts things off for Sun Prairie. Sean Grobschmidt leading things off for Oak Creek. We saw Grobschmidt go high on his last attempt in the semifinal match. He got lucky to carry a crossover last game. This time, not so lucky. Leaves the 6-9 combination. You watch as that head pin actually gets bounced off the 5 and goes through the 6 and the 9, hitting neither pin. Grobschmidt will want to shoot at this one. Pretty much like a 6-pin, shouldn't have any issues with chopping it. Covers both pins with the ball. And a mark on the board, an all-important mark on the board for Oak Creek. Once again, Sun Prairie losing no players from last year's starting 5 here in the Kickoff Classic. Austin Est looking for a 65-foot lane to the head pin that time as he pitches the ball a little bit wide. Checks the sliding sole on the way back, and sometimes nerves, no matter how many times you've been under the TV lights, no matter how many teammates you have supporting you, nerves can get in the way on occasion. See what Est can do here to cover up the 1-2-8. He'll just shoot at it just like trying to cross over. 1-2 with the ball. Ball carries back to the 8. Does so successfully. And Sun Prairie with their first mark on the day. N&E now has been sharp most of the afternoon so far for this Oak Creek team. During your qualifying games, she averaged 177, but really increased the fill percentage in the Baker match play portion of the tournament. And how about that for Nino tickling down the left side of that rack? An early 11-pin lead for Oak Creek. Talked a little earlier about scoring average for Sun Prairie. Sun Prairie opened up the tournament with a 5-man team game of 12:54. Cratchy with 261, S 278. This man right here, Quinn Shee, 247. Jeremy Hodgson, 233. Andrew Olson, 235 to get to that 12:54 total. And we're seeing some errant shots, not even close to the pocket so far for Sun Prairie, and I just don't think it's the lane condition being broken down a little bit by the two teams in the prior match. It's simply just a little bit of the nerves for Sun Prairie at this time. They'll settle down though. They averaged over 240 in qualifying as a team for the 10 individual games. Then for the 8 Baker games of match play, slowed down a little bit, averaged just over 220 to get into the #1 seed as Sheehy covers up the spare. Anthony Martirana stepping up. Man takes little time on the approach, knows what he wants to do, and what it's been most of the day today has been knocking 10 pins at a time down. Good toss there for Martirana. The freshman cracking the starting lineup here for Oak Creek. And you see the spare ball get passed up from the back. As the 6-pin rings around the 10, pretty close to carrying on that shot. Seen some issues with a lot of players on corner pins today here, and once again, you get a little bit of the nerves, you get a little fast with the push away, everything starts to play catch up, and you push the ball out to the right. And that slices Oak Creek's lead down to a single pin. Jeremy Hodgson, man, won a Madison Area Scratch Tour title earlier this year, the first youth player to win a title in the 30-plus year history of the Madison Area Scratch Tour. Also in the past, this team from Sun Prairie not only finished second at the Wisconsin State Tournament last year, but turned it around once they got to the high school national event in June in Nashville and took home the high school national team tournament title. Right back to Wisconsin. Oak Creek participated as well last year, made the initial cut into match play, and finished just outside the top 12 teams. Kat Martirana, senior for Oak Creek, fires that one right up about second arrow, and we're seeing these light hits for the ladies tickle all 10 down this afternoon here at Motion Plus Lanes. Another strike for Martirana. And I will easily say this is the most powerful strike ball in high school bowling in Wisconsin right now. Andrew Olson, the two-handed stylings, and how about that for a messenger? Coming across and putting the 10-pin down for Olson. Olson, national champion in the high school national tournament singles event last year, to go with Sun Prairie as a team taking home the national title. Stephen Majewski, the senior for Oak Creek, looking to get his team into the commercial break with a great shot, and he does. 5 frames into our first game here at Motion Plus Lanes. Last 5 frames of game 1 coming up after this short break here. Couple of errant shots early as Sun Prairie, the favorite coming into this match as the top seed, down by 12 pins. Getting into the second half of game 1. Of course, this is a 2-game total pin match. Teams are bowling the Baker format. They will switch lanes after this initial game. And Colin Cratchy bowling in the leadoff and 6th frame spot for Sun Prairie, looking to put a double on the board for his team. Kicks the 10 out, reduces Oak Creek's lead down to just 2 pins, with Sean Grobschmidt stepping up for Oak Creek. And Grobschmidt having issues with going left his last couple of shots. That time, I think he just got a little slow, tried to get the ball to hook up into the pocket, overhooks, and leaves himself 310 baby split. High series 728 for this senior from Oak Creek High School. One of 2 remaining players from last year's state championship team for the boys for Oak Creek. And that open frame hands Sun Prairie their first lead in this championship match, with Austin Est taking to the approach. Est high game 290. Looking to get Sun Prairie string out to 3 in a row. Splits the 8 and the 9 beautifully on that shot. And Sun Prairie now takes a big lead after that open frame. We see these leads change quickly after an open and a string of strikes by the opposing team. Sun Prairie now up by 32. Anna Nenau stepping up in the 7th for Oak Creek. Needs it to roll up a little harder. And actually a pretty good break there on a slightly errant shot for Nenau. That ball would have hooked up a little bit quicker. That could have been a washout or a 210 combination. She's lucky that ball delayed its hook a little bit later, and the 6-pin took out the 10. But we know that this 1-2-8 combination, never easy for these young players. And I also wanted to say hi to her brother Jake. Jake serving in Afghanistan. As Carrie Catania said at the beginning of this match, we salute all of our members of the military watching our shows here on Spectrum Sports. Because without what you do to keep our country safe, we couldn't do what we do for these young bowlers on TV. Quinn Shee stepping up. Quinn, a senior for Sun Prairie. Gets that ball out around 10th board at the break point. Slices back nicely, gets the 10 to go down. And Sun Prairie is down at the commercial break, responds with 3 strikes after the commercial break, 4 strikes in total to take a 42-pin lead, and it's up to Anthony Martirana to try to get Oak Creek back into this match. And Martirana a little quick through the front part of the lane. That ball never had a chance to turn over. And we saw this earlier from Martirana in the semifinal match. The 2-7 combination, best way to do this as a right-hander for conversion. Hook into the 2-pin on the left side, have the ball, carry out the 7. And gets too much of that 2-pin head on. And Martirana open frame. And Sun Prairie up by 53, can extend it to 63 if Hodgson can strike here in his team's 9th frame. And boy, if you would have said at the 5th frame the route was going to be on just 4 frames later, I would have highly doubted it. A great low-level cam, lane 9, shredded rack. Hodgson gets Sun Prairie up by 63 pins. And it's pretty much mandatory strike mode in the 9th and 10th frame for Oak Creek. Kat Martirana has thrown a lot of strikes today for Oak Creek. Needs to throw another one here in the 9th frame. Keep her team within a reasonable striking distance. And that one, Martirana just kind of gave it a little extra. You saw the elbow flare out to the right. Tried giving a little extra oomph on the bottom, and this 9-10 combination only about 1.5 inches at 63 feet down the lane for Martirana to try to convert this 9-10, the bowling ball being 8.5 inches in circumference, and the 2 pins belly to belly being about 7 inches apart. So I would give someone of Martirana's caliber about a 50% chance of converting this, and that's going to be out to the right. No chance to get to the 9-pin. And you don't want to say that the match is over after a single game, but Andrew Olson can almost make that a reality if he can punch out in the 10th frame and give Sun Prairie a huge lead, and a great shot by Olson. Surprising, this young man only has 2 300 games to his credit in his young career. But he just started bowling 4 years ago, just before he joined this Sun Prairie team. Of course, all these young players for Sun Prairie, part of the great youth program at Prairie Lanes in the Madison area that John Brunig and his wife Shar have been running for many, many years. They also run the Badgerland Youth Bowling Tour tournaments out in the Madison area that gives these young players a chance for extra competition and a chance at a little bit of scholarship money on occasion. Always good to have. Always like the events, though, that they get the added money from sponsors. I know the Sean Yona Memorial, we've covered that for many years here on Spectrum Sports. We'll be going back up there in March. We're bringing that to you in March and April with all the added scholarship money they have for those young players. And we missed it this year due to the World Series of Bowling for the PBA Tour with the Junior Hall of Fame tournament that Shannon Levinsky and all of her friends and family have run for years now. Another great youth scholarship event, as well as Majewski shakes his head on the way back. And it's tough to come back in this format, 2-game total pin. Most of these young players in their high school matches, it's simple match play. In District 1, where the bowlers from Oak Creek bowl in, it's a best of 9-game match, so first to 5 wins a match. Sun Prairie out in District 4 in the Madison area, they bowl 9 games with 1 point on each match and 1 point for the series total as they calculate their standings as the year goes on. And that's one of the nice things about high school bowling in Wisconsin. You don't just have to have a single format to run your district. You can do Baker games. We did regular 5-person tee games during qualifying here today. Lots of ways to keep it interesting for these players, and Oak Creek's going to have to find a way to really keep things interesting. In Game 2, a large deficit for Oak Creek. We'll be back with that second game of our championship match here from Motion Plus Lanes after the short break.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com.
Nice on 3. 1, 2,
83 pins the advantage for Sun Prairie after Game 1. The 2-game total pin championship match here for the SABR High School Kickoff Classic. It may take near perfection for Oak Creek to have any chance in this match with the big 2:35 opening game by Sun Prairie. Sean Grobschmidt's going to try to do what he can here in the first frame and the week 10 pin, as these teams have changed lanes. Once again, no practice on the lane change during the commercial break. Coaches had a chance to talk to their players. Got to overhear a little bit of what Jeff Robluski was saying to his Oak Creek team, and it's just basically get there, fire, give it your all. All you can do now is try to fight back. There's no defense in bowling. And that ball for Grobschmidt falls off the right edge of the lane, and the deficit becomes larger for Oak Creek. Colin Cratchy stepping up for Sun Prairie. High game at 269. Started bowling at the age of 8. Cratchy, only a sophomore. Good toss there by Cratchy, leaving the 10. And right now in a situation like this for Sun Prairie, you can't just sit there and coast. We've seen it most recently as last game. You make a couple of errant shots, your opponent gets 4 or 5 strikes in a row, and that once huge lead you once had suddenly disappears. So the key here for Cratchy, using that polyester ball, relaxing it through the bottom of the shot, and no problem, dead on that 10 pin for the cover. Coach Robleski with some words of encouragement for Nino as she gets up to take her second frame. Nina using a ball with a pearlized cover stock. Good for a young player like her with a slower ball speed, lower rev rate. She doesn't have to force the ball through the front part of the lane. You see that ball rolling up, a little left to target, leaving the 6-7. And if I was her coach right now, I'd say simply go for it. As Nina picks up the spare ball. Nothing to lose here. Maybe get a little momentum back for your team. And hey, why not a highlight on TV while you're there? So you see Nina move to the left side of the approach. Giving it a ride here and just off into the right gutter. Back-to-back open frames for Oak Creek is any dreams they may have had about taking home this SABR High School Classic title in 2017 have now fallen by the wayside. Austin Esta Jr. Surprising this young man doesn't have a 300 on his resume yet. High game of 290. And shreds the rack nicely on that shot. Anthony Martirana, freshman. Wanted to thank his mom, his dad. Surprising he didn't thank his sister since they have to bowl together all year long, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll talk that over once it's done. A little fast for Martirana, leaving 2-8. These young players learning off of every shot. He'll make that move a little bit farther to the right with his feet. Wants to get through that oil in the middle of the lane, cross lane. Hook into the 2-8 and gets both pins with the ball. Textbook conversion. I want to thank Barbier's in South Milwaukee and Barbier's on Blue Mountain Road in Milwaukee for their 10+ years of sponsorship here. Their bowling telecasts on Spectrum Sports. Always great to have the support of Mark Dempsey and all of his staff. It's Quincy a little quick through the front part of the lane. Ball doesn't get time to recover. You see he's kind of talking to his teammates there, waving it off, knows he got quick, and he's happy to leave just the 2-pin on that shot. 6 300 games for Sheehy to this point. And we've seen his brother Tyler in the past on a few of our telecasts in singles competition as well. Next year, she's going to be attending UW Whitewater, that strong program there. She's going to be going to the business school at Whitewater and bowling on that great club team they have there. Kat Martirana hasn't stated what college she wants to bowl yet, but she might not just be a bowler as well. She could be sitting there trying out for the band as well. She's part of the Oak Creek Marching Band. In her off time, off the lanes, likes to practice. Hodgson, part of Future Farmers of America and loves to talk politics off the lanes. I'll have to ask him about what he's thinking is going to happen with the 2018 midterm elections. Very informed young man when it comes to politics. And Hodgson, like all the players here on the Sun Prairie team, want to thank Coach John Brudig for all the bowling opportunities. We mentioned him during Game 1. It's not just the high school team, but it's the junior program at Prairie Lanes, all the Badgerland youth bowling tournaments, all the other opportunities they've had to travel and gain experience throughout Wisconsin and the United States. Looking forward to go back. New Year's Eve, we'll tape our 9th edition of the High School Midwinter Classic at Castle Lanes and Racine. Want to thank the Onco family once again for all our support. We'll have boys and girls championship finals for that event coming to you in January here on Spectrum Sports. And that is one title outside of the state high school championship title that every team that bowls in that event wants to take home. A lot of prestige. You're being the best teams in southern Wisconsin at that event, and you do it through a very long and grueling format. It takes up a good chunk of these players' New Year's Eve mornings and afternoons. Mazuski with the cover with a large lead for Sun Prairie. Andrew Olson. The power that is Olson. 10 back. High five gear has those bowlers looking good, and we'll be back with the last 5 frames of this championship match with the insurmountable lead of Sun Prairie after this break. Sun Prairie sitting in cruise control right now in this championship match, up by over 100 pins with just 5 frames remaining. Oak Creek trying to get out of here as strong as they possibly can. Grobschmidt up in the 6th frame for Oak Creek. There's the quality shot that you want to end your day with. Hopefully we get a few more of those out of Oak Creek this game as well. And I'm sure we'll probably see some substitutions for the Oak Creek team. Sun Prairie, no substitutes. They came in with 5, bowled with 5 all day. And it has been a very strong 5-man rotation for Sun Prairie, with Colin Cratchie, the sophomore, starting things in the 6th frame. And first double of the game for Sun Prairie. We saw that big string in game 1 where they struck from the 5th through the first ball of the 10th frames to really extend that lead. And they're staying clean. The only open frame so far, Cratchie, frame 1, game 1 of this 2-game total pin match. Anna Nenow, she's thrown the ball pretty well all day for Oak Creek. That's going to need a lot of help, and that is going to be a tough conversion for a lower speed, lower rev rate player like Nenow, going a little bit more cross lane at the 3-9. And what happens with a lower rev, lower speed player when they try to move to their left as a right-hander and hook into the 3-9, sometimes they have a tendency to pull it in the oil, and if they pull it in the oil, there's really no drive through the 3-pin to get back to the 9. So she's going to want to make sure she projects this ball out to the right, and did not do so. Ball grabs the dry at the end of this 40-foot Motion Plus Lanes tournament pattern and hooks into the left side of the 3, open frame again for Oak Creek as the problems compound for the Knights. Austin Est looking to get 3 in a row for his team here. That one just gave it a little bit extra on the bottom, pulled it a little bit to the left, and you have to make some reasonably good shots on this Motion Plus Lanes tournament pattern. It's about a 5.5 to 1 ratio. It's not as easy as a lot of house patterns that you see from center to center in southeastern Wisconsin, but it's not requiring PBA Tour caliber type shots either. Est going cross lane at that 610, looking to keep Sun Prairie clean, and he does. Waiting to see if we're going to get a substitution yet for Oak Creek, and got a couple players on the bench, not as of yet. Keep them rolling with who got him into this championship match. Anthony Martirana, his last attempt on the day, creeps up a bit high, leaves the 3-6, and you see the dejection. A lot of faces on not just the Oak Creek bench, but the Oak Creek fans in the crowd as well. And we want to thank Joe Serrar at Bowlers Pro Shop. You saw his helpful tips about bowling ball surface preparation during the break between our semifinal and championship matches. And I know at Bowlers Pro Shop they have some quality specials going on after the holidays are complete, so take a stop in at South Howell Avenue. Say hi to Joe Serrar, say hi to Dennis Jerez, say hi to Mickey Serrar. Let them know you enjoy the bowling programming here on Spectrum Sports and how much you appreciate their support for over 40 years as Bowler Pro Shop on the south side of Milwaukee. Quinn Sheehy, 10 back. Strong way to finish the day for Sheehy. Now he's just on the sidelines cheering his team on. And we will have a substitution for Oak Creek. You know, at the end of the semifinal match, they brought in Andrew Balco. And Balco is the one coming in at this time. Never easy to do. You've been sitting on the sidelines for close to a half hour, and coach goes, "All right, you, get in there and throw me a strike." So we saw Balco with a good shot at the end of the semifinal match, left a blower 7-pin on his first shot in the 10th frame of game 2, and almost got that ball to finish rolling up. Made the nice adjustment for the slightly tighter lane 9. Just needed to come up to the pocket a little bit more. But leaves the tough 2, 4, 5, and 7 combination, making this spare right here. I would say hook it past the 2-pin a little bit. Get the ball to travel down the line, take out the 4 and the 7. 2-pin will deflect into the 5, or you can make it the standard way a right-hander would make a 2, 4, 5. Hit the 2, 5 pocket, let the pins fall from the 2 into the 4 into the 7, and that's the route Balco's going to take, and he gets everything down. Nice spare there by the substitute for Oak Creek. Sun Prairie, no substitutes to be had, so Hodgson, the lefty, will get out there and throw his foundation frame for his team. High series for Hodgson of 777. Wanted to thank the support of his family, not just for showing up and cheering him on, but for driving him around and paying for all of his tournaments. Well, bowling, sometimes if you do it competitively, it's not an inexpensive sport, to be honest. Bowling balls can average from $100 to $250 new, depending on the type of bowling ball. Gas money to tournaments, entry fees. Some of these tournaments require weekend stays, so you're looking at hotel and food on the road, and not a cheap thing for the parents to support sometime. We know a lot of these kids appreciate their parents' support. And Mitchell Pintar, the last substitute on the bench for Oak Creek, coming in. Pintar, freshman. Pretty good toss there. Just got the 2 around the 4-7 in a bit of a hurry on that high flush hit. He'll wait for his ball to come back and shouldn't have too much of a problem with the spare. Make the adjustment off your strike line. You can either move your target left or your feet right, or a combination of the two. And he's a relatively straight player. A little pull that time, and unfortunately the open frame for Pintar is going to end Oak Creek at 147 in game 2 and a 2-game total of 299. So a convincing win here for Sun Prairie, and you have to think after the start to this tournament, this Kickoff Classic, and their current leading of the standings in District 4 in the Madison area for high school bowling, they are definitely your #1 favorites to be headed towards the state tournament and trying to take home that title in Wausau the first weekend of March. This is a fun young man to watch, that two-handed style, the powerful strike ball as he eyes that one all the way through the pin deck. And he has the body style to be conducive for a strong two-handed player, and he has the athleticism as well. Very athletic to pull off the powerful two-handed game. And we're going to get this wrapped up here. Kerry Catania is going to join me once again. We're going to head out to SABR and Pewaukee, wrap up the show as these bowlers congratulate each other. And Sun Prairie, your titleist here at the 2017 SABR High School Kickoff Classic.
Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com.
Back out here at SABR Laser Tag in Pewaukee. Kerry, what a great day again for Sun Prairie. We saw them win the Kickoff Classic last year, and in dominating fashion this year, they do it again. It's fun to have these high school teams in at your center.
Oh yeah, it's great to see them battle them out. It's great to see them win again. I think this could be the first, maybe, back-to-back team champions.
I think it is, and all the teams that we've had here, all the team events we've had at Motion Plus Lanes. But you mentioned a battle, and we are out here at SABR Laser Tag in Pewaukee, and there's always a battle going on out here at SABR. Been here a couple of times already. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't matter what your age. I mean, we're kind of on the older side of things. We've seen little kids come in here, and it's families can do it as well. Groups can do it as well. I'm sure these bowling teams, if they want to do a little team building, can come out here and play a little laser tag.
Oh yeah, everyone, anyone, all ages welcome. Also get your choices of military-style weapons. We got 7 to choose from. Lots of team building.
And it's never the same thing every time. There's different missions. So one game you might have your friend as your partner. In your next game, it might be a free-for-all for everybody.
That's correct. Sometimes you could play 2 people. There could be 60, 70 people. You could be in the office arena, or you could be in the warehouse arena, or the Coliseum.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing place. I know you're getting ready to open out here. People are just dying to get the information on what's going on out here at SABR. If they want to call you, what's the number they can call you at?
They can call us at 262-737-4500. Don't forget to visit on our website at sabertag.com.
So get your friends and family out here to SABR Laser Tag for a lot of fun. Kerry, thanks for hosting another great tournament at Motion Plus Lanes.
And thank you, Phil, for producing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're back here again. High School Mixed Doubles Championship coming up to you soon here on Spectrum Sports. For Kerry Catania, I'm Phil Brilo. Parents take the kids bowling because they will have fun for life, and bring them out to SABR Laser Tag for a little fun as well. And we better get going, Kerry. I think we're going to be under attack here in a second.
I think you're right.
See you next time.